Hello, and welcome to today's recording of Assassin's Creed 3. Today we're going to be working on Sequence 7 on day 40 of our marathon towards Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Can you believe it? 60 days from now, we're going to have our hands on a shiny new Greek Assassin's Creed game. I'm excited. Are you? Well, let's see what's going on with Connor right now. We've just killed William Johnson, and about to see the fallout of that.
I thought it might bring clarity or instill a sense of accomplishment, but all I feel is regret.
Hold fast to that. Such sacrifices must never come lightly.
I had to do it. Not only for my people, but for all the others Johnson would have harmed.
It's a start. But to truly be free of Templar influence, all of them must be dealt with in turn. Even your father.
I know.
You speak the words, but do you believe them? Seems we've company.
You notice a sash there?
What is it?
A request for aid from Paul Revere. Seems the Redcoats are up to something in Boston. Guess you made an impression on the Sons of Liberty.
They mistake me for one of their own. Please tell Mr. Revere he has my sympathies, but I cannot help at present.
You might wish to reconsider. John Pitcairn is mentioned by name.
Where am I to go?
Mr. Revere's house in Boston. If you'd like, I can...
Well, it sounds like he knows where it is. Alright, so we're going to fast travel here to Boston, and as we do that, we're going to start talking a little bit about Paul Revere, because he is a very important person within American history. He was born on December 22nd, 1734. A silversmith and engraver by trade, he is of course best known for his midnight ride. Now what the midnight ride was, it was an alert to colonial militia on April 18th, 1775 of the British's approach to Lexington and Concord, and while dramatized in the 1861 poem by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, he did help organize the intelligence and alarm system to keep watch on the British military, which would of course culminate in his midnight ride. The ride is what he's most known for, which would itself start between 9 and 10 o'clock, while Joseph Warren told both Paul Revere and William Dawes that the troops were about to leave in boats, who would get the intel from Robert Newman's signal of 2 lamps in Old North Church. One if by land, that's where 1 if by land, 2 if by sea comes from. Let's hit this cutscene, and then we'll continue on Paul Revere.
Ah, Connor! What a relief! You came! Allow me to introduce you to William Dawes and Robert Newman.
Your letter said John Pitcairn was here.
Aye. He's readying an assault on Lexington, where Adams and Hancock have taken shelter. After that, he will march on Concord, hoping to destroy our weapons and supplies. You must help us.
Only tell me where to find him, and I will put a stop to this.
He has dozens, if not hundreds, of soldiers at his command. Cannot hope to match him by yourself. But fear not, for you will not have to. We have an entire army of our own, merely awaiting the order to take up arms.
Then you must call upon them.
Indeed. You and I cross the Charles River and rouse the boys. William, I need you to take the overland route, do the same. Robert, I need you up in Christchurch. Light the signal. 2 lanterns, our enemy comes by sea. No time for dawdling, my friend. We have lives to save. Come on.
Connor hates to be touched, doesn't he? So here we go. We're gonna talk about the Midnight Ride as we do it. Hurrah! So where were we? So they would ride towards Lexington and Concord, warning colonists that the regulars are coming out. He did not ride through the night yelling, "The British are coming!" as most colonists felt that they were still British.
They've only left a single horse. We'll have to ride together. You take the reins, I'll navigate. Quickly, Connor, get on the horse!
I hate this mission, by the way. So, he wouldn't be yelling, "The British are coming, the British are coming,"
I'll guide you towards those we need to alert. Follow my directions, and we'll be done in no time.
as most colonists felt like they were British themselves, and his mission is secret. Once reaching Lexington, they would have met with Samuel Adams and John Hancock, who was as quoted from a BY. No, that's too many notes too far. That's Samuel.
Excellent! We are right on course!
Prescott.
Redcoats. What are they doing here?
They're on patrol. What do you think they're doing here? Oh, that didn't go well. They shot me.
Time to gut you! Make ready!
Drop kick. Oliver is almost already dead just by taking on the one captain. DDT. All right. Well, I didn't go well. Maybe this time I won't pick him up. So, once reaching Lexington, they would meet with Sam Adams and John Hancock to discuss the rebellion's plans. They would continue along to Concord.
Follow my directions, and we'll be done in no time.
Continue down to Concord, where they would meet with Samuel Prescott, who was, as quoted by a few biographers, to be returning from a lady friend's house at the awkward hour of 1 a.m.
I believe we are on course.
Thanks. So then the three would be detained by the British Army.
What are they doing here?
They must be scouts.
Be careful, Connor. We mustn't let them warn the others. Here we are. Best to continue on foot.
Prescott would be able to finish the ride. Dawes would escape but not finish, and Revere would actually be captured.
He's trying to give us the slip!
This is it. You have got the right place. Let everyone know that the regulars marched for Lexington and Concord.
The British are coming!
Back in the saddle, my friend. We have more people to warn.
Alright. So. Where were we? On the way, um, so Revere, of course, would be retained.
Find a place to hide, Connor. Quickly, before we're spotted.
He would be retained,
To the
and
left, Connor.
no gunshots, man. And then he got kicked in the back of the head by.
I'm going to need help. Whoa! I'm over here.
Connor?
Yeah, where's the horse that kicked you in the head? Alright, so Revere would be detained and he would tell the patrol what he knew of the British Army's movement and that they'd be in danger in Lexington. On the way, the patrol would hear a gunshot and church bells ringing. And based on what Revere would say, they would let him and other prisoners go and they would return to their superiors. Now, after his...
Careful, Connor. There might be other scouts around. I
After...
believe we are on... Find a place to hide, Connor. Quickly, before we're spotted.
After his midnight ride and during the Revolution, he would serve as a militia officer until what was called the Ebsencott, I believe is how it was pronounced. Can I cross here? Nope. Maybe I can cross there. Or the horse will just... Really?
To the left, Connor! Careful, Connor. There might be other scouts around.
Really? What?
Connor?
As long as that horse will get out of the water, don't care. Hello, cow.
Is everything all right, my friend?
Okay, so after the Ebsencott mission, it was one of the most disastrous campaigns of the Revolutionary War.
Careful, Connor. There might be other scouts around.
Though he would be absolved of any blame.
Is everything all right, my friend?
Yeah, no, this horse is stupid. There we go. Excuse me.
We will never finish in time if we go by foot.
Never finished it before. Sorry about that. Somebody moved a chair upstairs, apparently. So after he was absolved of all blame, he would
We will never
basically...
finish in time if we go by foot. Wouldn't surprise me if we ran into more trouble. Stay alert.
There we go. Now we seem to be doing better. No idea where we're
Is
going.
everything all right, my friend?
Where we going? Thankfully, this is not timed.
This is it. You have got the right place. What are you doing? Spread the word. The regulars are coming out.
At once!
I feel like someone's calling on my shoulder for a hot second. Alright, so after the war, he would go back to his silversmithing and use his profits to expand his business into financing his work in casting. He would make cannons, bronze bells, and copper bolts and spikes. In 1800, he would be the first American to successfully roll copper into sheets to use for sheathing of naval vessels.
You!
Might be safer if we approach the houses on foot.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that yet.
This is it! You have got the right place!
Clear shot!
The regulars are coming.
Here! We're here! Get them!
Find a way to get rid of them, Connor!
So after he would, after his retirement in 1811,
Find a way to get rid of them, Connor!
he would circulate a petition in 1814 to offer the government the service of Bostonians, Boston artisans, excuse me.
We've got to shake those redcoats!
For use during the War of 1812.
Find a way to get rid of them, Connor!
He would then pass at his home in Boston at the age of
We need to
83
get away from them!
on May 10th, 1818. Come on, dude, get away from the tree.
That was much too close for comfort. Let us take care to avoid any further surprises.
That's
Here we are.
essentially a
Best to continue on foot.
quick run of Paul Revere's historical life and significance.
This is it! You have got the right place! Where the devil is he?
Are you sure we are in the right place?
Oh, sure, I'm sure. Prescott?
Evening, gents.
Listen, the regulars are out. You need to rally your men. And, put on some trousers.
At once.
With a lady friend till 1 a.m. So the last two things we're going to talk about today, since we're right here at the eve of the first battle,
Welcome to Lexington, Connor. Now let's find Hancock and Adams.
we're going to talk about the American Revolution.
No sign of Dawes. I hope he's all right.
We're going to talk about all of it. Not just one battle here, one battle there. We might get into some battles every now and again, but for the most part, we're just going to talk about the war as a whole.
Paul, Connor, good to see you.
You need to leave. The Redcoats are coming.
Aye, so Williams told us. Let them conduct their little search. They'll find nothing.
You don't understand. Pitcairn intends to kill you.
I'm afraid it's true.
I suppose we have no choice then but to go. What of you three?
Dawes and I will continue on to Concord. Connor, it's best you stay here and help our man John Parker hold the town. It'll give us time to spread the word.
I'm not sure which way to go. Oh, straight up the road. So, the American Revolution. It's, of course, a war that began as a conflict between Great Britain and their 13 colonies that would declare independence as the United States of America. After the Stamp Act, which we have already talked about, in 1765, the colonists would start to condemn the taxes as they had no elected representatives in Parliament, who in turn would argue that they were represented virtually. While repealing the stamp tax in 1766, others would come along, and as things like the Boston Massacre and the Boston Tea Party, it was April 18th, 1775, which is, we're going to have right here, the battles of Lexington and Concord, would kick off the true hostilities in all of the colonies. So let's get this running, and we'll talk as we fight the Redcoats.
Stand your ground, men! Don't fire! Unless fired upon! But if they mean to have a war, let it begin here!
Pitcairn!
Disperse, you damn rebels! Lay down your arms and disperse! What the deuce are you doing? Hold your position! Cravens! Traitors!
They are not coming back. You will have to make do with those who remain.
Don't you lecture me, Honor. Return fire! Return fire! You need to get to Concord and warn the others. Show this to whoever leads there. Should be a man by the name of James Barrett. Go on now!
Funny thing is, no one knows who fired that first shot at Lexington and Concord. And if you think about it, that would be the right date that they had shown, because if the Midnight Ride was April 18th, the next day the battles would be April 19th. So the British would control most of the war, leading to George Washington's winter encampment in Valley Forge in 1777. William Howe would camp 20 miles away, and as Washington's army would go through supply issues and it would go through poor conditions, that
The Redcoats are taking captives! We have to help!
I'll have at you! You're dead!
I'm not waiting around to see what happens.
that didn't go well. It's my turn.
I've got a surprise for those lobster backs!
Blood's been spilled in Lexington, and there's more to come. The regulars are on the march.
You don't say. Why do you think I'm men up here? Go home, or you get yourself killed. Enough to worry about without some green boy looking to play it hero. I can vouch for him.
John Parker as well. Where's Revere?
Captured?
What?
Fear not. That man's no stranger to sticky situations. He'll be fine. I'm sure of it. You ladies finished gossiping? Parker seems to believe you're not completely useless, so I suppose there's a thing or two you might be able to help with. When the fighting starts, we'll need to hold those positions there. They're critical to the defense of Concord. Good boys. Not used to soldiering, they need some with experience to direct them. That's something you can do? You'd best be telling the truth.
You have my word.
Then I suppose all that's left to do is wait.
I like him.
Sir! Mount the barricades! No! Ensure my men hold those positions. If the Red Devils break through, we're finished.
What would you have me do?
Listen carefully. The Redcoats will form firing lines. Order the men to shoot just before the line is ready. Too soon and they'll miss their targets. Too late, and the enemy will open fire first.
Understood.
And if any of those bastards make it through, engage them. You must keep my men alive.
Make ready!
This one's gonna get a little hairy pretty quick. Here.
Prepare yourselves.
Shoot!
Wait for my signal. Wait for my signal.
Wait for it.
Go! Prepare yourselves.
This one takes full.
Fire! Fire now! Wait for my signal. Fire now! Hold fire! Open fire! Make ready! Wait for my signal. Open fire! Wait for the signal!
This one's gonna reach first.
Wait for the signal!
Shoot!
Wait for my signal!
Fire!
Prepare yourselves! Fire now! Prepare yourselves!
Clearly weren't ready.
Get ready! Open fire! Prepare yourselves!
Fire!
Wait for my signal!
Fire! Wait for my signal. Wait for my signal. Shoot! Wait for my signal. Make ready. Open fire. Make ready. Make ready. Shoot. Hold fire.
That was a lot easier than I remember.
Fall back! Fall back!
So, Valley Forge, 1777. And William Howe would camp
We did it!
20 miles away.
They're turning tail!
Washington's army would go through supply issues, poor conditions that regulated in roughly 2,500 deaths. Some have said that if Howe attacked during this time, war would have ended. Instead, he would resign and be replaced by Henry Clinton on May 24th, 1778. During this time, the Continental Army would go through a new training program supervised by Baron von Steuben. Let's talk to Barrett and see where we go.
It takes a true monster to do something like this. At least they're gone.
I should have struck when I had the chance. Do you know where Pitcairn could have gone?
Back into the withered bosom of the British, no doubt. So that he may regroup and plan his next atrocity.
I need to find him. Every day I wait, more will suffer.
Chin up, friend. Many who should have died today now live because of you.
And what of them?
We do the best we can with what we've got.
It is not enough.
It never is.
He's one of the first few that he truly let touch him. Like he didn't, like Revere he was mad with, but with Barrett he was alright. Okay, so after the formal trading program by Baron von Steuben, it would add former recognition of the with the training regiment added with the formal recognition of the United States by France.
Cause. I beg they will accept my most cordial thanks for this distinguished testimony of their approbation. But lest some unlucky event should happen, unfavorable to my reputation, I beg it may be remembered by every gentleman in the room that I, this day, declare with utmost sincerity, I do not think myself equal to the command I am honored with.
Truly, there is no man better suited to the task.
Really?
I can think of several.
Charles Lee.
To have accepted this arduous employment.
Do I know you?
I would not expect you to remember.
Come, Connor, there's someone I want you to meet.
I will keep an exact account of my expenses.
Sorry to pull you away
Those
like that,
I
but
doubt not they
the
will
last thing
discharge,
we need is
and
the
that is
two
all
of
I
you
desire.
coming to blows. Connor, allow me to introduce you to our newly appointed Commander-in-Chief, George Washington.
Ah, so you're the one who saved Sam and John at Lexington.
It was the Patriots who did that. I merely lent support.
As humble as he is brave. We could use more men like you. I'm sorry, but if you'll excuse me, I should attend to Charles over there. He looks none too happy about being passed over for command. It was good to meet you, Connor.
Tell me you have news of Pitcairn.
I'm told he's taken shelter in Boston, where he's guarded by 1,000 redcoats. The only way you're gonna get at him is if we draw him out. Lucky for you, we're launching an offensive against the city in order to do just that. Israel Putnam has been given command of our forces. Present this to him and he'll provide whatever aid you require. You'll find him at the encampment on Bunker Hill.
You have my thanks.
No need. It's the least I could do. Pitcairn's a dangerous man. The sooner we're rid of him, the better.
I would say the same of Charles Lee.
Now that's an altogether different beast. Let us leave it for another day. Best you head to Boston, Connor. Still here, are you?
I was just wondering, what happens now?
There's quite a lot to do. Commander Washington must determine when and where we'll strike next. And we need to get to work on our message.
Message?
We must contact the broadsheets at once. Ensure it's clear to everyone that it was the Loyalists who fired first in Lexington.
But no one knows who fired first.
Which is exactly why we must spread the news quickly. We'll determine public opinion.
This seems dishonest.
Perhaps, but so what? People must believe we acted in self-defense, else we've committed treason.
But you have.
Better to bow and scrape before a tyrant, then? Is that what you suggest?
No, of course not. No one should be denied freedom. And yet, to change the truth, it seems a dangerous road to travel.
Understand, Connor. This is a war fought not just on the battlefield, but within hearts and minds as well. There's nothing wrong with a bit of theater, especially if it saves lives.
I never really understood why Boston went to the First Continental Congress, just to put that out there. So, France would formally recognize the United States on February 6, 1777. Then the Spanish would treaty with France to go to war with Britain on April 12, 1779. This would make the American Revolution a global war, including battles in Europe and India. All of this would, that's probably a bad way to go, would turn the tide of the war, leading to Charles Cornwallis to attempt to cut the supply trains to the south, leading Washington to agree with the French Navy that attacking Cornwallis, let me rephrase it, let me say that again. Cornwallis will try to cut off supply trains in the south. This would lead to Washington agreeing with the French Navy into attacking Cornwallis, as the French felt the south was weaker for the British. Cornwallis would dig in at Yorktown in Virginia and await the Royal Navy. On September 5th, 1781, French would defeat the Royal Navy at the Battle of Chesapeake Bay and then blockade Yorktown. And on September 28th, Yorktown would be laid siege to both by Washington and the French Navy. Finally, on October 17th, 1781, Cornwallis would negotiate surrender. Strangely enough, the Royal Navy, the British Royal Navy, would send 6,000 troops in relief on the exact same day he surrendered. That was the day that they left New York. News of the defeat at Yorktown would arrive in London on November 25th, 1781, and Parliament would vote in February of 1782 to continue the war. Although the Whig Party would come to power and begin open negotiations to end the war. Eventually, the Treaty of Paris would be signed on November 30th, 1782, and the U.S. Congress of Confederation would ratify it on January 4th, 1784, and the British, Spanish, French, and Dutch ratifications of the war would formally end on September 3rd, 1783. No, that's got to be 1784. That's got to be a typo in my notes. The final troops would leave New York City November 25th, 1783. That's got to be another typo. That's got to be 84. As this here is the start of the war, we're going to see most of the lore changes within the lore and not too much. And I'm not going to get into it here.
Looking for Israel Putnam.
Let you watch it as I play.
On whose orders?
Samuel Adams.
And I'm betting this guy can't read. Just my thought.
Follow me.
It's not Bunker Hill.
Aye, it's Breach. There's been some disagreement as to where we should encamp.
Any news from Boston?
The Tories aren't moving, and any time we try to press them, we lose a dozen men. I think Putnam and the others plan to assemble artillery on these hills. A good shelling might make the Redcoats rethink their strategy.
And what of John Pitcairn?
That bastard's the cagiest of the bunch. He's appeared time to taunt us or send regards by way of cannon fire. It's all right, though. He'll have what's coming to him soon enough.
Baggages. I have a sunburn on it. So we're gonna get up here and we're gonna talk to Putnam, and then we're gonna talk about
Putnam's just up
Pitcairn.
ahead. You can't miss.
I don't care much for your excuses, gentlemen. We could be building on Bunker Hill. Breeze is closer to the city, but it is also closer to their artillery.
Our orders came from men so divorced from the situation, we are compelled by reason to employ our own faculties to make a proper determination.
More than I can understand even half that nonsense you just...
Got a sunburn today. My back is killing me.
Case. I'm going back to Bunker Hill. Gentlemen.
General Putnam,
What?
I'm looking for John Pitcairn. I was told you would be able to help me find him.
He's tucked away inside that city with no reason to leave. As long as that ship continues its assault, we'll never flush him out.
But if the ship was silent,
Well, that might be forced to get off his arse and come forward.
fly this flag to signal my success.
And I shall speak fondly of you at your funeral.
That line alone is why I like it. It's real Putnam. We will talk more about Putnam, but it won't be until later. As long as we keep moving, we shouldn't take cannon fire. Shouldn't. This is a very dangerous stuff. Alright, John Pitcairn. He was born December 18th, 1722 in Dysart, Scotland. He would enter the Royal Marines at age 23 when he was commissioned as and then commissioned as a lieutenant in 1746. He would serve in Canada during the French and Indian War as a captain. Promoted to major in 1771, he would arrive in Boston in 1774 in command of 600 Marines assigned to support the British forces. Respected by Bostonians as one of the more reasonable officers, he was in command of the advance party that marched on Lexington and Concord, as we see within lore here with him. He would lose a pair of matched pistols that Israel Putnam would carry throughout the rest of the war. 2 months later, which is where we're at the Battle of Bunker Hill. I missed something.
Bastards have the sights.
big here. Well, since I have already messed that up, well, that's not what I wanted. Alright, so, Battle of Bunker Hill, that's where we're at. He would command a force about 300 Marines. We're talking about John Pitcairn again. He would lead his men up the hill to eventually fall victim to a musket shot that is said to have been fired by former slave Peter Salem. Pitcairn would be carried back to Boston, where he would pass on June 17, 1775, at the age of 52. Of course, within the lore, we already know that he is a Templar agent, and we'll see a little bit more about him and his death here shortly. There's Run Grenadier. The only way you're going to get that is to assassinate the one guy. And of course, I just got a cramp in my thigh. Oh yeah, I forgot I have to fly the flag. Oops. Grandfather, of course, climbs much faster. So I was doing some looking. We probably, while it is not for the Reddit marathon that we are working on, we are probably, assuming time will allow, do the Tyranny of King Washington DLC, and that's when we will not only talk about Israel Putnam, we will also talk about Benjamin Arnold. No, is it Benjamin Arnold? That's not right. It's not Tom Arnold. He's a famous actor. Benedict Arnold. We'll also talk about Washington and the quote-unquote presidential apple.
And you tremble. They've better numbers, you say. Better weapons, better training. But I do not fear. And neither should you. For what they have in material, they lack in conviction and care. But not us. We have discipline. We have order. And most importantly, we have passion. We believe. To maintain vigilance, conserve your ammo, ensure a proper line of sight, and above all else, men, do not fire until you see the whites of their eyes. be damned. You did it.
That was quite a speech.
Lies, all of it, I'm afraid. Still, such words have carried us thus far.
What of Pitcairn?
He's left Boston, as I said he would, and set up camp on Molten Hill. There's no good way to get at him. Not with that maelstrom rolling down below. I suppose you could circle around a bit, and wait for us to within their ranks.
There is no time. I will have to chance a direct approach.
That's twice today you proposed the impossible.
I see no other choice.
Not because you're mad as a March hare, son.
I expect an apology on my return.
Man, it's son. That is like my absolute one of my favorite lines in this.
Incoming fire! Take cover!
There's fire. Well, there's that. To take it out, and you have to hang it. That would make it. You really pay attention to what's going on. And when they're firing. Yeah, get out of here in a second. Good job. Alright, let's try this again. Where's the big range fire here? Is that it? That is. Oh, that's some blood. That was even worse. He definitely does not jump like Ezio would. Let's just kill them and be done with it, huh? Can't see because of the camera angle. Left button instead of right. Bye. Bye, Felicia. Oh, and there's the right back here. Oh shit. Let's just end it. Worst case scenario, I don't make it. I like the air assassination though, because he jumps at him while he's on the horse from the flagpole. It's pretty sweet.
Why did you do this?
To protect Adams and Hancock and those they serve, you meant to kill them.
Kill them? Are you mad? I wanted only to parley. There was so much to discuss, to explain. You put an end to that now.
If you speak true, then I will carry your last words to them.
They must lay down their arms. They must stop this war.
Why them and not the Redcoats?
Do you not think we asked the same question of the British? These things take time. And I would have succeeded had you let me play my part.
Part of the puppeteer.
Better we hold the strings than another.
No, the strings should be severed. All should be free.
And we should live forever on castles in the sky. You wield your blade like a man, but your mouth like a child. And more will die now. Because of it.
You wield your blade like a man and your mouth like a child.
How dare you sneak up on me like that? Why don't you just go out there and just help this camp retreat? Don't ever do that again, you hear me? God damn it!
General Putnam.
You live.
The same cannot be said for Pitcairn.
Well done, I suppose. But it matters little now. I'm ordering a full retreat. We have lost too many in exchange for too little. If the Tories want this hill so badly, let them have it. Boston is the true prize.
We have a bigger problem.
What do you mean? This can't be right. It says they plan to murder Washington.
Dun dun dun! That, unless we get kicked out of the sequence, is the end of sequence 7. And it leads us into tomorrow, where we will head to New York and try to figure out what this murder plan for Washington is.
My enemy is tenacious. When money failed them, they took to force. But I have slain Johnson and Pitcairn both, ending their plots. George Washington now rallies the colonists, and their march towards freedom begins in earnest. Little wonder, then, that the Templars now want him dead. They seek to reshape this land into something cold and ordered, something soulless. And he is an obstacle. I must save him, that his cause can flourish and my people remain safe. But the more I prod, the greater the chance I am discovered. The Templars believe their men lost the revolution. In their eyes, the assassins are gone and scattered, no longer a threat. But I fear they will soon discover the truth, and me along with them. I must tread carefully.
Alright, so that is the end of sequence 7. We have seen the start of the American Revolution. We have seen the attacks on Lexington and Concord, the first Continental, no, first, yeah, it is First Continental Congress. I don't know why I thought it was a different name. We've also seen the Battle of Bunker Hill. Tomorrow we will meet a few people in New York. Our first trip to New York, so that should be exciting. I hear New York's a big bad city. That's pretty cool. But until next time, I hope you have a great night. And if you have enjoyed the content that I give you, check the description below for my social media and my website. And until next time, have a great night.